check out our new merch store at www.ShotOfFactsPodcast.com, where you can find our merch with shirts dedicated to each episode you love. Check it out today and support a Shot of Facts merch. Welcome to A Shot of Facts. This is your girl, Deja Renee, and this episode is a shot of financial coaching with Almi Yoloye of LiveWise Financial. So Almi is the founder and CEO of LiveWise Financial, which is a finance coaching service for working professionals. Now, also prior to LiveWise Financial, Almi has been working with various consumers over the past 7 years and has extensive background in management, consumer finance, baking, and payroll. So, Almi, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, just been relaxing. Honestly, during COVID, we're still in quarantine
Right.
technically. I literally just on the weekends, I do my podcast, I relax and try to rejuvenate before I have to go back to work.
Yeah, we all need that time.
Yeah. And so going now into finance, since are you a finance consultant or you will be called a finance coach?
Financial coach. Yeah.
Financial coach. Okay. So
Yeah.
what is the difference between a consultant and a coach?
Okay. Well, more so, I guess, an advisor is probably what you're referencing, like a difference between a financial advisor and financial coach. So financial advisor is someone that deals like with investments. Like you need your Series 7. There's a lot more regulation on it, and you sell insurance, and you have to actually have, you're regulated by the state and by the government by that. Whereas a financial coach, it's just similar to a money coach. So I help, my clients as far as like their budget, their day-to-day finances. So I can't give any like tax advice or type of investment advice. So I can't tell you what to invest in the stock market or
Right.
how to change your retirement, but I can help you with your budget and help you with your financial goal.
Now, speaking of budgeting, because I think this is something that all of us struggle to stay on top of, especially myself, I'm calling myself out. What are ways that we could create and stick to a budget? Because I think sticking to it is the hardest part.
Yeah. So what I say, I always have for LiveWise, I have like a 4-step process for that. So the first step in creating a budget is to figure out what things you spend your money on like a monthly basis, right? Because we all have certain bills that are kind of the same that don't change no matter what, right? You have your mortgage or your rent, your car note, your insurance, whether it's, car insurance, health insurance, depending on if you get deducted from your employer, childcare, food, groceries, investments, etc. Right. So the first step in creating a budget is to figure out, what you spend your money on, right? You figure out what's going on because everyone has different things that they're spending money on. A single person with no kids is going to have a different budget than a married couple with 3 kids. Right. So, and the second step in that is to figure out if the current budget you have is effective enough for you. Maybe you do have a budget, but it's just not working, right? And then that's when you need a financial coach to kind of help you see what's going on and see how we can help you improve that. And with the budget that you do currently have, if it's not effective for you, you have to figure out also, is it helping you reach your financial goal? And then that's when you ask yourself the next question, like, do you have a financial goal?
Right. I was like, what is my financial goal?
Exactly. So there's layers here, right? So if you have a financial goal, then now you see, okay, this is what I want to, where I want to be. Is that budget that I have effective enough for me? Okay. And then so step 3 of that, I say if it does align with the financial goal, does it also go along with the type of lifestyle that you want to live, right? Because just like how everyone has a different budget, we also have a different lifestyle. Like I said, someone with no kids is going to have a little bit different lifestyle than, a single mom of 3 or like, someone who has, 2 kids or is married or is unmarried, right? So with the financial goal that you have, with the current budget you have, make sure it also aligns with the lifestyle that you want to live or that you're, currently living. Because somebody may want, a Range Rover, right? If you want to live Range Rover lifestyle, you got to make sure your budget aligns with that. Or if you're, okay with sticking with Toyota, then you also may have a budget that aligns better as well. So that leads also to like the 4th step that I have, which is if you feel you need assistance now in having your budget that matches your wants, matches your financial goal, matches your lifestyle, then we can actually have a coaching session together where I can work with you one-on-one, just like we have like a Zoom meeting, and figure out what works best, right? So we'll, assess your situation. We'll go through, what your current situation is and make sure it works out to what you want, right? Because it's
Right.
your financial goal, it's your life. And that's what I'm here for. I want to help people get to where they want to be. And the main thing out of that is also maintaining a healthy, well, I say healthy or positive bank account helps as well. Because if your bank account is in the negative, then we definitely got to talk. Okay, definitely book a session so I can get you on track with your budget.
Yeah, I honestly think with budgeting, one of the main problems, even for myself sometimes, is living within your means or living
Absolutely.
within, staying in your budget, living within your means is one of the hardest things, especially as a millennial, someone
Yes.
who is always like on social media. You see all these people living lavish lives, and you think that you're supposed to like be this person or have this or that by this age. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the hardest components of budgeting is just knowing like stay in your lane. This is what you can afford monthly.
Right.
Actually, right, just staying in your lane. I think that's one of the hardest parts. And
Yeah.
correlating with that is saving. So I think that's one of the hardest things as well too is actually starting to save money and not live paycheck by paycheck. But that's actually hard when your paycheck is literally eaten up by bills. So, what is a way that we can start saving more, or how do you feel about saving versus investing? Because that's another thing too. I know you can't really give investment advice or what you should
Yeah.
put into investments, but I know some people basically like to say that you should invest more or have your money flip for you instead of saving, which I think like skews people's perception of what actually saving is. So can you like explain a little bit
Yeah.
more about saving?
Yeah. So in regards to like investing, so saving can help in investing, right? Because
Right.
when you invest, like say you invest in the stock market, it's you're risking your money as well, and you definitely want to invest, and that's a separate thing. But saving can help you with investing because you need the money saved up so that way you can invest it. Right. So
Right.
that's where, I guess the difference also between a coach and an advisor, because the coach can help you save the money and then the advisor can actually help you invest the money that you saved, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, talking about the importance of saving. I actually hosted a webinar in September, and that was literally my topic. I was talking about the importance of saving, and the replay, actually, if anyone watching needs it, the replay of that webinar is available on my Thinkific page, which is livewise financial.thinkific.com. So if you don't have a savings account, that's the first one. Go to the bank and open one today. Okay.
Right.
If you don't have a savings account, or even if you don't have a bank account, which is another thing, then go to the bank today or Monday and open one today. You need these. Okay, you need to have a savings account, you need to have an emergency fund. And actually in my webinar to teach people the importance of saving, I broke down what the consequences of not saving are, to help you understand, right? Because people are like, well, why do I need a savings account? Well, if you don't have one, here's what can happen, right? A
Right.
couple things. You can have increased credit card debt, right? Because if you don't have the money saved up to pay the debt, it's just gonna, people are just gonna rack up your credit cards. You can fall behind on your bills. Like I mentioned earlier, bills are a monthly thing, right?
Right.
So, if you fall behind, and you know how America is, they're just gonna pile up, you know, or if you don't have enough money saved, then that's when people go out and borrow, whether you're, borrowing money from a family member, right? Asking your uncle, your mom, hey, can I borrow 500 because you don't have enough money saved up? Or you're going to a loan company, right? Or you're going to a bank to get the loan for the extra cash because you don't have it saved up. Also, the consequence of not saving can also be lack of financial security, right? You're not financially secure, and that could be a real concern in the future as well. And one factor people forget about financial stress and not saving is it actually can bring health problems, right? Because you can get stress-related health problems because now
Exactly.
you're gambling, right? You're already living paycheck to paycheck. That's already stress within itself, right? Then now you don't have money saved up. And then let's say, for example, you have a medical bill or a medical emergency, and your insurance doesn't cover that. Now you're stressed out. It can bring health problems, or you're not prepared, for emergency. And the last thing also, that the consequence of not saving is bankruptcy. I worked for a loan company for 3 years that I managed, and I see it all the time. They take out a loan, they take out the amount, they can't pay it, and they file bankruptcy. And bankruptcy is not good. I understand, people have different views about it, but it does, stay in your credit report for 10 years. And it's just a negative effect on your financial health. So those are the consequences of not saving. And you have to really think about that as well, because we all have events that we save for, right? Such as maybe like a wedding or a new house or a
Right.
new car. Some people save for retirement. That's why we have, 401k and IRA accounts, college tuition if you have kids, or even just medical expenses. So saving really, really is important for everybody in all ages. And I say, even if you have kids, because I don't have kids yet, but I would start them out in like a savings account and be the custodian of it, so that way they understand why this is so important.
Now, going into, because you kind of mentioned about your retirement fund or your 401k or Roth or IRA.
Yeah.
And I kind of want you to explain that a little bit more to the listeners because my demographic is college students, college graduates, people who are just now beginning their careers. And even
Right.
myself, I took out, well, I signed up for, we call it TSP in my job,
Okay.
where, they match how much that you put in. But I know it's a thing with your retirement fund. I'm not even really versed in it where you're supposed to max it out or you can like capitalize more of it before you retire, which is a thing that I still myself need to get more educated about. So can you explain a little bit more about just retirement funds and things of that sort as well?
Yeah, so IRA stands for individual retirement account. And then the employer sponsored accounts are the 401k. That's the one, if you have a job, you work at, Walmart, Target, wherever you work, and they have a 401k, that's the employer sponsored one that you would get, through your job. And if you're a teacher, then you would have like a 43B. So like different, like if you work for the government, or if you're a teacher, you have it, it's called something different. The difference between like a 401k and an IRA is the IRA is individual. That's your personal like retirement account that you can contribute to, whereas the 401k is the one that's through your job and that your employer can match your contributions on. And so, which I'm glad you asked that question as well, because one of my tips as well with a 401k, since it is an employer matched contribution, you want to maximize that. Right. So every company has their different rules. So let's say, for example, company A is giving, a 5% match of your contributions. You want to make sure that when you do your, deductions, that you are deducting up to 5%, because that's the max. You want to maximize that match, because let's say you only save about 3%. So that's at least 2% that your company can match you. And that's like free money into your retirement account that you're missing on. Right. So you definitely want to maximize your 401k contributions if you can, because that's essentially what I say, quote unquote, free money that they're just depositing to your account, as long as you just save that amount. Whereas the IRA, whether it's traditional or Roth, because, traditional IRA is with pre-tax money, and you can use that money that you contribute to it. You have to get a tax deduction for IRA contributions for traditional, and then the Roth IRA is after tax dollars. So you don't get the tax benefit as far as the contributions, but since it's with after tax dollars, you actually don't pay taxes when you take it out. So you can actually
Oh.
have one of each, so you get the benefit of both. And then
Hmm.
the 401k is just the employer sponsored plan. So some people have, just the 401k, and then some people have an IRA, some people have both. You just got to figure out what works for you.
Right, and it's really funny because, as young people, we don't think about retirement. It's like, I'm young and wild and free. Who cares
Yeah,
about that? But then when the time comes, you're gonna wish you actually took that serious 20 plus years down the line. So that's why
right.
I really think that it's important to foot stomp talking and discussing early about retirement plans and starting early. Start when you're young because when it's time for you to retire, you will have some serious money in the bank. Like serious enough for you to
Yeah.
live however you wanna live in your retirement.
Yeah,
But
and also with IRAs as well, another key point is that even though we're young, because I'm 26 and I understand like we're young. Oh yeah, retirement's like 40 years away. Like who cares
right,
about retirement? But the thing about an IRA is that you definitely still want to save in it, because let's say you want to buy a house, you can actually borrow money from your IRA. Let's say if you want to use it as a down payment. You can use that as well. So just little caveats of why it is also important to not only to save with a bank account, but save with your 401k or your individual retirement account as well.
now when you borrow from there, is it like interest to pay it back or how does that go?
Well, the tax law changes sometimes. So, but like I know, because I know with COVID, some of the laws have changed. So, excuse me if I'm saying this wrong, but I know like with if you actually just borrow from your 401k, then you do pay an interest because it's weird. You're paying interest to yourself because it's your money, but you're borrowing from your 401k because you're using the money before you're 59 and a half. So you do pay interest on that. As far as if you use like your IRA to like a down payment on a house. I don't remember the exact tax law for that. If you actually pay interest on it, I don't think so. But just to make sure, because the tax law changes, they can we'll have to research that. But I know for sure if it's a 401k, yeah, if you take a loan on it, you are paying interest. But at least the money is available just in case you don't have enough in your actual like savings account.
Right. Okay. Now, going into actual, let's say, entrepreneurs, business owners, how can financial planning help with those type of situations, especially if they're looking to hire employees or looking to buying commercial property for themselves or just taking that next big step to solidify their company?
Yeah. So every business has expenses, right? So,
Mhm.
and certain expenses include like processing fees, like when we have to submit our, documents to the state, fees for the state, we have to pay our yearly fees. Payment processing fees, when you have using someone's payment system, such as PayPal, they charge you for every payment. You have to pay for advertising, whether using, Instagram or Facebook, etc.
Yes, girl.
Yes, nothing is free. I was over, nothing is free now. So you have to really plan for these expenses, especially, when you have a business or when you're an entrepreneur, because if you don't plan for these expenses, then you're just, draining your account or whatever, funding that you have, it can lead to a deficit, right? Especially if you're a new business owner like myself, and you're not generating enough income to always cover those expenses. So saving is very important because you don't want to like overextend yourself and be like wondering, oh my gosh, like I just spent all this money and I don't have enough income and now I'm stressed out. And we don't want that, right? Who wants stress, right?
Right.
So for personally for me, like as a new business owner, I stick to a strict budget. Right. So for example, like I told myself since I'm new, I spend no more than $100 a month on advertising. Right. Because if you use like Facebook or Instagram and you do a few ads on there, it doesn't cost too much. So I say, okay, no more than $100. So let's say I didn't have that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna spend whatever. And I end up spending, 2,000. That's way over my budget, right?
Right.
So and it can hurt me if I'm not generating enough at the time to match, those expenses. And also one thing I also learned as far as COVID, I'm a new business owner, but some, people have been in business, for a few more years than I have, and no one was expecting COVID, right? So even though they may have had this plan and they were generating income, now that COVID came into play this year, a lot of business owners were affected, right? And some of them weren't prepared for COVID or the effect that it would have. So that's why also saving comes, into play as well, because you want to have the extra money saved up for situations like COVID or pandemic, and also to adjust you have to adjust your financial plan. Because what if you have employees, right? Employees have to be paid. But if you don't have, the money to pay them, that can affect your business as well. So there's so many moving factors that can come into play why it's so important to save as a business owner or as an entrepreneur.
Definitely. Now, since we are talking about businesses, let's discuss LiveWise Financial.
Okay.
So, what is it? Can you explain a little bit more about what you guys do and what do you guys offer?
Sure. So as you mentioned in your intro, it's a financial coaching service run by me. So I am, the founder and CEO of LiveWise. It's just a financial coaching service for predominantly millennials, right? That's my main clientele, but I'm not limiting myself, right? So if you not a millennial, please
Right.
come to LiveWise. But I launched LiveWise in September. And I launched it because I really wanted my clients to have someone to go to when they need help with their day-to-day finances, because I know, we have financial advisors and we have accountants, we have CPAs, but we don't really have too many financial coaches, right? I know we have, like, for example, like Dave Ramsey, but it's not too many financial coaches, right? The market is a lot smaller than the amount of people that are actually advisors and accountants and and things like that. So I wanted to be one that can help millennials, working professionals, people that you don't expect need a financial coach, right? So I really want to help them, right? From the day they get paid almost to the day they spend their last dollar. I want to be like that go-to person to say, hey, okay, now we've got your paycheck. Now, let's look at your financial goals. Have you, done your financial planning? And let me help you, figure out how to get you there. And sometimes you just need the extra help. We all need help in certain areas. And that's where I feel like, I'm a real big help to my clients and to anyone that feels maybe they just need one session. Oh, let me just, book a session and help. Or maybe they need, a few sessions, because everyone is in a different stage of their, financial wellness. So that's where LiveWise comes into play, where I can help people at different stages of their financial plan.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask you, like, is this like a day by day type of business where like your customers like daily meetings or weekly meetings, or is it set based off of the customer's needs?
Yeah, so it's based on, well, a session is usually like an hour. So it depends on the situation. So if there's someone that they actually do need like help like on a weekly basis with their spending, then I would suggest they get, for example, like my gold package, which has 4 coaching sessions. So that each week we go through and see where they're at. Or if they need like a full financial plan, budget plan, and long-term goal assessment, then they may need more sessions. So a session is just typically an hour, and they can just book an hour session. And my consultations are free. So before even getting a client to pay, I definitely want to have a conversation with them and see if I can help. Because the first thing is to see for a good match first, because
Right.
I don't want someone to pay for a service that they feel that I couldn't really be an assistance to them. You know what I mean? So consultations are totally free. They can book online on my website, livewisefinancial.com, and the calendar is there, and just have a conversation with me. That way I can gauge what type of coaching package will be more suitable for them, and how many hourly sessions they may need to fit what they want.
Okay, you guys heard it. I'll make sure to add all of your information in the show notes, definitely, for people to
Perfect.
get to know you more and to get a consultation and potentially work with LiveWise Financial. Now, one of my well, not really last questions. I always do this. I have like a whole bunch of questions before I say my last one, but
Ask away, okay?
I wanted to ask if you can say in one quote, why should we value financial literacy more?
Okay. Well, financial literacy, if I had to say in one quote, it builds a strong foundation that can help support your life goals. As simple as that.
Facts.
Just a strong foundation that can help support your life goals.
Definitely. And I think people live in the now too much. Like, it's okay to live in a moment, but especially for millennials, I think we need to start
Yes,
being more aware of our future
we
and
do.
how to prepare for it.
We do, because you'll see, I mean, as a millennial, we always think, like you said, like of the now, like, oh, well, I need to worry about now. But there's still a life ahead. And, if they can talk to maybe their parents or people that wish, like, oh, dang, I wish I had a financial coach when I was 25. I
Mhm.
wish I had a financial coach when I was 19 or 32. I would probably be in a better place now when I'm like, 45 or 50 if I had done that.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. And so now, as we are going into the last question, actually,
okay,
I
sure.
wanted to ask, did you have any last words of recommendation, advice, or tips that you can give to the followers, the listeners, and myself as well about financial coaching, just overall everything about LiveWise?
Sure. My thing is, don't be scared to get a financial coach. I know, like, some people are like, oh my god, like, are scared to get help. Like, get help. It's fun. I know finances is like a scary topic, but I don't want it to be, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how to budget. No, it's okay. Like, we all need help. So financial coaching is for everybody. Also, I guess the tip I would say is start with, if you don't have a current like savings plan or savings account, just start with 5%. Like, start with like 5% of your paycheck. Just take 5% out and have it in your savings account. Just have them automatically deduct 5%, and you'll see how much of a difference that'll make compared to you not saving at all.
Right.
So I would say just start with saving just 5%, something small, and then you can always increase that amount as long as you go.
Okay. And where can we find you? Social media, website, anything that we can get connected with you?
Sure, I have a few. So the main website is livewise.financial.com. So LIVEWISE financial.com. That's the main website. They can also give me a call if they want to chat. My business phone number is 202-854-9828. I'm also on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. Actually, if they want to add me on LinkedIn, my first name is ALMI and last name Yoloye, YOLOYE. Or you can add me on Instagram, which is at the only Almi. So THEONLY and then ALMI. And I also have a Facebook group. Just type in LiveWise Financial, join the page, join the group, have a chat. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me in anywhere. You can call me, go on the website, or you can schedule a call or follow me on social media.
Okay, guys. I'll make sure to add all ofAmi's information on the show notes and on my social media platforms as well, so we can all get connected and get our finances together, y'all. Okay, we
Yes.
all could do a little bit better when it comes to our finances. I want people to know, don't ever think that you're just a top tier when it comes to budgeting and having your
Right,
finances
right.
together. It's always a way you can better yourself, always.
Yes. That's why I said live easy, spend wisely. That's my
Yes,
tagline.
yes. But again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to a shot of facts.
Thank you, Deja. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great weekend.